Question number 3, the Honourable Annette King.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Health. Does he stand by all his statements?
The Honourable Dr Jonathan Coleman.
Yes, within the context which they were made.
Supplementary question, the Honourable Annette King.
Does he stand by his statement made just 2 months ago relating to Canterbury DHB, quote, "There is plenty of money there in that huge budget that Canterbury has," end quote? If so, why has he now written to Canterbury DHB saying that the Ministry of Health is to undertake a financial review?
The Honourable Dr Jonathan Coleman.
Well, the point is there is plenty of money. There's $1.36 billion that goes into that DHB. We've increased that by $254 million over the last 7 years, $26 million by this year. But Canterbury are saying that they are looking for some more money, specifically at the moment for mental health services. The idea of the financial review is to help them find it.
Supplementary question,
Supplementary
Mr. Speaker.
question, the Honourable Annette King.
Has he seen a recent Canterbury DHB presentation which shows that taking account of the additional government funding received, Canterbury DHB has had to absorb around $80 million of expenses arising from earthquake-related costs, mismatched elective funding and $10 million paid for the failed HBL project?
The Honourable Dr Jonathan Coleman.
Mr Speaker, I speak to the DHB all the time. I haven't seen that particular presentation, but what I can say is tens of millions of dollars of extra support has been poured into Canterbury to support what was a very devastating series of events down there 5 years ago.
Supplementary question,
Supplementary
Mr.
question, the Honourable Annette
Is
King.
he aware that the Canterbury DHB, which the Auditor-General said was the best performing DHB, has said the position that the government has put them in will mean they will be cutting services to the people of Canterbury as if they haven't faced enough?
The Honourable Dr Jonathan Coleman.
Mr Speaker, I don't believe that that's what they're saying, but like all DHBs, they've got to make the best possible use of the money that they do have available.
Supplementary question.
Supplementary question, the Honourable Annette King.
Is he confident that the information being provided to him by the Ministry of Health senior officials in relation to Canterbury DHB's financial position and the pressures they face is not tainted by personal agenda and vindictive behaviour?
The Honourable Dr Jonathan Coleman.
Yes.
Supplementary question, the Honourable
Supplementary,
Order.
Mr Speaker. What other statements does the Minister stand by?
Mr Speaker.
Honourable Dr Jonathan Coleman.
Mr Speaker, I stand by the statement that under this government, the number of first specialist assessments has risen by 50,000 compared to an actual cut of 7,500 between 2000 and 2006. And equally, I stand by the statement that the number of surgical operations has gone up under this government, such that there are now an extra 44,000 operations per year, compared to an actual cut of 2,200 operations between 2000 and 2006. So in short, this government's delivering more, the other crowd delivered less.
Order.
Pathetic. Supplementary
question, the Honourable Annette King.
And
Order.
Supplementary question. In light of the widespread knowledge of the dysfunctional relationship between the senior management of the Ministry of Health, the National Health Board and the Canterbury DHB, will he commit to an independent financial review of Canterbury DHB? If not, why not?
The Honourable Dr Jonathan Coleman.
Mr Speaker, I dispute that there's a dysfunctional relationship there. Obviously, you're always going to get people who, for whatever reason, will try to make trouble. Mrs King may well be one of those. But look, the fact is I have complete confidence in the ministry staff. They're doing a very good job. They're doing a very good job in helping the Canterbury DHB turn around what's a pretty difficult situation.
Supplementary question.
Supplementary question, the Honourable Annette King.
Well, in light of that answer, has he recently been told that senior executives of the Ministry of Health are lying to him and are bullying Ministry of Health staff, chairs and chief executives of DHBs?
The Honourable Dr Jonathan Coleman.
Mr Speaker, I know some people would like to believe that that's the truth, but it's completely false.
Question number 4, Melissa Lee.